Business ownership in a divorce can greatly complicate the issues. Because the business is a property, um, we have to look at, is it separate property? So was that business started before the marriage? Or was it started during the marriage, so we now have a community property interest in the business? Being able to determine what the value of that business is often very difficult without incurring a lot of expenses in getting a professional evaluation. So just putting a value on a piece of property that's like a business is not like a house. You can definitely go and see what the value of a house is. A business is different, especially small businesses. We also usually have a lot of commingling of personal and business debts and income. So separating all that out can also really complicate a divorce. There are several ways to evaluate a business. The easiest is to hire a professional business evaluator. That can get very expensive. I've also seen we analyze profit and loss statements. You have to look at goodwill. We have to look at, is the business one of the spouses? And if that spouse goes away, the business fails. So there are a lot of aspects that go into evaluating a business that's going to have to be dealt with in a divorce. It even complicates things more if we have a partner in the business that is not the spouse. So an outside partner, because then we have to determine what the percentage of ownership is of the spouse and the other partners, and then figure out what that portion is worth. A prenup can really protect business assets. Because a prenup sets out ahead of the marriage what all the property is and what all the debts are, then you can include in the prenup, and then you should also have included in any kind of business formation agreement or operating agreement, what happens in the event of a divorce. That's going to clarify the whole issue of, is this going to be a separate property asset? And in a prenup, the parties agree whether that will be the case or not, and what happens in a divorce. So you've already clarified that, and the courts are going to look at that agreement, and they're going to uphold what it says, unless there's some good reason for them not to, which would be very difficult to prove in court. Business debts in divorce are associated with the business. So an asset that has a debt associated, they usually go together. So if we have the business asset and there's debts for the business, then they're going to go with that business. So whoever's awarded the business would also take the debt with it. Sometimes we have some commingling of some personal debts with the business debt. And so it may complicate the issues in the divorce a little bit to be able to separate what those are. So if we have some personal debt that was put on the business, but it really should have been part of the community, then we're going to have to figure out what that is and separate that out. But typically the debt of the business will go with the ownership of the business. If you're facing divorce and you own a business and you have any questions about what that division will look like, give us a call at the Boswell Law Firm, where we provide peace in the chaos.